What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 3 of Inspired Stories for the month of May. I'm your host, Anthony Church. This month I'm back to highlighting an artist, so I chose PJ this month. So some of you might not be familiar with her work. She's written for a lot of different artists: Jizzle, Common, trying to think of who else, Lupe Fiasco, many more that she's done either background vocals for or writing or something along the lines of that. And so I believe she started out as just a songwriter and really didn't do a whole lot on the artist side until probably around 2015. And I think I discovered her around 2014 when she was on the HS87 album We the Plug. On a couple songs she did like the outros and a couple different things on there as a featured artist. So I was like, who is this? And then I researched her a little bit more and found that she had worked with different artists and whatnot. It's like I said, in songwriting. But around 2015, I remember like I was following her on social media and everything at that time, and she put out an EP then. I believe it's called Walking Around Pools. Could be wrong about that, but I think that was the name of the first EP. It was only like, I think 4 or 5 songs long. I think the song Make Believe was the first single, and then she had a song with Jizzle. She had a song with Hit Boy on there, which was a pretty big song that had a video that was kind of like, I think it was like the Good Burger parody or something. It was a really cool like song, video, and everything. But from there, then she put out in 2016, and this was around the time where I had just graduated high school and I took the trip to California, which is kind of where my whole music career got going. I remember like the week before that she put out this project called Rare, and Rare was like a huge project for me personally that was like so important because just the messages on that project are just so relatable about just overcoming, self-doubt and what other people are telling you as far as, how to pursue your life and everything. And I think that whole project was really just discussing her uniqueness as a person and how that could relate to, her through her music and everything. And I know that technically wasn't like her debut album, but to me that was like a full-on album. I remember I was running my Tumblr still at the time that I did like album reviews on, and I did that album like shortly after it came out, and I reviewed every single song because I was a huge fan of that whole project, like from top to bottom, the sequencing, the production. I actually interviewed Jeffro Cause on the Proven Knowledge podcast, and we discussed the song I'm Good on there, which is I think probably my favorite song. It's hard to pick a favorite for that project. It had like featured artists were like Ty Dolla $ign, G-Eazy, God, who else? I'm trying to think off the top, but I think there was a few more people on there. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and try to think of every single person. There was a few featured artists, and but for the most part it was just her kind of like really getting into her artist side. And I just really love that project, and still today I go back on that project a ton. So that was kind of like the starting point for me to be a huge fan of her. Now since 2016 she's kind of been, she hasn't really dropped a ton of music. She just came out with the first project since then last May. There was another EP which was only like 5 songs, but I think she's still been doing the songwriting for the most part, and being a feature now. Now she's been more featured, especially with Common. She was just on his last album for like 3 or 4 songs on the album as a featured artist and everything. I personally hope that she continues to put out music as an artist more and more, and like I've just been waiting on a full album for 5 years now because I'm just like, God, Rare was such a good project that it's hard to imagine not getting a full body of work and it feels like she's only put out a handful of songs in the last 5 years that are just from her. So as a fan, I will be patient. We'll see what happens. She's been hinting here and there at an album, but she's also done that a lot, where she's like, "Oh, working on the album, blah 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 blah." So fingers crossed for that album. But like, if you haven't heard any of her music, I encourage you to go check it out. It's just PJ, just the 2 letters, because there's PJ Morton and there's like some other PJ artists, but she's just PJ. On like all streaming and everything. You might have to do a couple searches to figure out like which one she is and whatnot, but her music is just very like relatable to me. I don't even think you have to like be from any certain background to understand like the message in her music. I think she called it before in an interview like music for the underdog, or music for like the come up, kind of like you could just be an ordinary kid just from anywhere and just relate to the messages in the music about overcoming, like I said, not just self-doubt, but people doubting you from the outside, and just being like, fuck all that, I'm just gonna do what I have to do, and go on the journey that I know I'm meant to go on. So that is my real story with PJ. If I had to recommend some songs, I'd say I'm Good, like I just mentioned, was one. Can't Stop is another great one. Something Special. I Mean It with Hit Boy. Oh man, there's so many good ones. God, what else? One Missed Call was kind of the big song that she did a couple years ago that kind of blew up a little bit. That was a really popular one. And My Best Life is probably one of my favorite songs that she did a few years ago as well. That's a very like emotional song. But yeah, most people don't know about her, but like I said, I encourage you to check out her music and everything, and I'm a huge fan of her work, and I'm looking forward to what she does in the future, and hopefully we get that album. So this was episode number 3 of Inspired Stories, and I'll be back in June again, and I'll be highlighting another producer, so I'll have to see who that's gonna be. But like I said, hopefully you guys check out PJ's music and enjoy it, and until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you very much.